So the Olympus ME-15 lav mic might be back in my good graces, but that's a big might. One problem is they have very short cords, so I have to try this with the extension cable and see if it makes any noise. But here's what we're doing. Dual mic, because one of the interesting issues is the other mics have a stereo plug. They're not a stereo mic, but they're at least putting the sound on both channels. So that's one thing that makes it just a smidge unfair to the ME-15 is it's putting it out on only one channel. I have somewhere in my possession an adapter that goes from a mono to stereo, which would be nice. I don't have it on me, so I'm doing this instead. This is a separate mic on each channel. So that's one channel. That's the other channel. 1, 2. We'll see if that works or not. Hopefully you can you even see those mics? They're here. Here, we'll do this. This is awkward. 1, 2. All right, that's what I was doing. You can't see that because they're down, which actually then means that this is not framed terribly poorly. I wish you could see how I've got the cord stretched out and stuff. So this is the ME-15 dual channel, basically, you know, stereo split, as good as it's going to get ever. What's also interesting, hold on just a moment, if I give myself some separation of the mics, I'm catching myself off one side or the other. That way if I turn this way you hear it from one side, if I turn that way you hear it from the other side. I don't know if I'd ever record myself in stereo like that, but I could, and that's what it would sound like. So I'm going to make one last test with this off of an extension so that we can see if that introduces noise or still works. But I'm hopeful this might actually sound somewhat decent. All right, so last test. So I'm walking backwards here. Make sure I don't trip over anything. So here's what I've done. I have a long extension cord. 1/8 inch stereo, plug to 1/8 inch stereo jack. The framing is going to bother me, so I'm going to adjust my camera down, and then you get to look at the floor. That's what I get for using a cheap little desktop tripod. But notice I have lots of freedom of movement. 2 Olympus ME-15 microphones plugged into a Radio Shack dual mono to stereo adapter, then plugged into the extension cable up to the camera. So this gives me lots of freedom of movement. I still have my dual channel. I've got this channel and that channel. So, and technically I know they're not really channels if you're really an audio geek, because it's just the stereo left and stereo right. But what more do you need, right? Anyway, so the audio quality is pretty good, I guess. I can show that Stingray mic. This is not what I'm using right now, but this is what I had been using. And I don't know, maybe the ME-15s will work. I suppose eventually I should try one with the mono to stereo adapter, just so it's fair. the mic gets to put things on 2 channels. I can't think of really too much else to say on this one. I'm going to just have to run them into the computer, see how they actually sound from a real computer testing scenario. But yeah, the ME-15 might have some hope, and the reason, well, I like it for a few reasons. One is you can actually find it. It actually is a thing. You can say, I want the Olympus ME-15 microphone, please. And you can obtain that. If you're curious, I'm speaking in a conversational tone. I wouldn't really say I'm projecting much, I guess. If where the camera was sitting as a person, this is about how loud I would speak. So I'm not really yelling into the mic. I don't want to disturb my office neighbors and things. So yeah, the audio quality's okay. I suppose one thing I haven't done, so you know why I'm doing this. That's the built-in, I just unplugged this. You now have the built-in Zi8 microphone. If I'm standing at the same distance I was, here's the trick of looping the mic around the belt loop. I'm speaking in the same conversational tone I was. I'm betting that sounds really bad right now. So that's why we're happy to have things like the Zi8 that has an external mic. So thank you for bearing with me during the testing. I say that now knowing I might put this out someplace and someone's going to listen to it and think, wow, this is awkward. So I will step up and say into the Zi8 mic, thank you very much. Wish me luck as I try to parse all this out and figure out which truly is better, and maybe someday we'll come to an actual conclusion. Thanks.